Hey guys, and welcome to the fourth progression log in Monifactory. I'm still a little bit sick, as you guys can tell. Sorry about the delay. But I have a nice little cup of lemon ginger tea here. That should help get me through this video. Um, so I am still a little bit sick, unfortunately. I've been sick for about 20 days at this point. It fucking sucks. I got sicker too on Thursday and Friday. Like Friday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Um, I got pretty sick. But I got better, and I was able to get some work done over the last couple of days. So I should have plenty of stuff to talk about. So I guess we'll go ahead and start with on-demand stuff. There's been some, continual improvements over here. We've added more machines of various kinds. We have more circuit numbers assemblers. We have more extruders. And also, I forgot about the multi-smelter. The multi-smelter is the alloy smelters, but better. As in it does parallelization just off the bat. Like with this with the Cooper nickel coils, it does 32 at a time, and it can do 32 steel ingots over 3 seconds. So that's very nice. So I forgot about it, and Cosmic reminded me and set it up, and it's been great. Added some Bender 2s here for the double plates, and some polarizers. I got really sick of batching those by hand, I'm not gonna lie. And you'll also notice over here another bridge. We finally bridged all the way across. We love our bridges here. Um, I love how like sprawling the space is becoming. Over here we'll turn into some more on-demand stuff. Right now it's just the processors, so we don't have those, two single 4K storage blocks. These things are 8K storage with one coprocessor each. They're not the greatest, but this is Greg Tech. You always have to cut corners somewhere, and they're good enough for what we need right now. We just really needed more. The two we had wasn't really enough, but now that we have more, it's great. Ore processing is still running. The next big thing over here, actually, I added some more machines over here. I set up passive Fluix, quartz, and Fluix dust. Over here, originally I was going to set up some PTFE. I had a machine over here making chloroform, which is the first step in making polytetrafluoroethylene. And, well, we don't really have a good source of fluorine, if I'm being honest. Like, the main fluorine line requires deep slate. And passive deep slate requires the EV rock breaker, which we don't have access to at the moment. I don't know how long it will be until we get that. We have to set up clean room first, and once we set up clean room, that's like the next big thing to do. And once we get clean room up, we can get better circuit processor. We can get like microprocessors and stuff, and I think probably by then we might be able to get titanium not too far away. So maybe another week or so, and then we can set up deep slate. And then once we have deep slate on passive, because the reason why you use it is you crush it up into deep slate dust, and then you centrifuge deep slate, 5 deep slate dust, some silicon dioxide, and biotite dust. 22 biotite dust you electrolyze to 2 buckets of fluorine. So you need about 110 deep slate blocks to get 2 buckets of fluorine. So obviously you can't really gather that by hand. We have some because we get it like whenever we go mining, you usually get some deep slate, and we've just been processing that over time. But obviously this is not enough for any level of real PTFE production, unfortunately. So I was a little bit hasty in attempting to set that up. So I ripped it out and put some other useful things here instead, like Fluix. We also have steam over here. And I will show you why now, I guess. Petrochem, yeah. So originally, the last time you guys saw this, it was just the fermented biomass distillation tower. Now it's obviously a lot more. It's full petrochem. We have oil over here. We just have some rigs in the void. They are infinite, but low throughput, from what I've been told. So we don't have to worry about running out. But it is very slow, as you guys can see. We might actually have to go back and add more or something. I don't know. Anyway, so we still have we've had lots of oil. It's been processing all night. We have so I was given a spreadsheet of all the things to do. And the best thing to do is to make what is this one? It's like lightly hydrocracked refinery gas, and then like severely steam cracked naphtha, and then lightly. I think this is actually where. Yeah, we're lightly hydrocracking light fuel, and then severely steam cracking heavy fuel. Um, there's a whole long reason, like a bunch of you want octane from light fuel because there's not very many. It's the There's only two ways of getting it, and it's the best way of getting octane, which you use in some fuels down the line apparently. And there's a few other gases here and there that are useful. And then we just distill it all over here. This is on a subnet. This specific, all four of these are on the subnet with built-in a storage for all these fluids here. They're all on overflow destruction because while that would be wasteful, I don't really want it stopping up on anything. But we're going to be using a lot of these things, I think, like ethylene. I can rebuild polyethylene, for example, because polyethylene, as I built it before, sucks. It's super fucking slow. And I can definitely, make some improvements. So how this works is this is a subnet. We pull these things from main network, but when inserted into the interface here, it goes to the storage first. So it pulls from the mainnet for fluids, but stores on the subnet for the fluids, and then mainnet reads off this. So if we come over here to mainnet, we can take a look and we can see I'm like toluene. That's not how you spell it. Toluene. There you go. You can see we have about 424 buckets of that stuff. This was a lot of fun, but it was also very time consuming setting all this stuff up. It took me most of yesterday and a little bit of the day before that. Yeah, so this was fun. Now that we have Petrochem set up, we can do some other interesting things. We can start really working onto the plastics and things. I think we probably could have already done polyvinyl chloride, but we can definitely do that now for sure. We don't have to worry about chemicals anymore. We can also set up clean room, do some other interesting things. I think we could have set up clean room before, but Petrochem is an important step of GregTech in because you need many of the chemicals down the line in various production lines eventually. So getting it set up is important. It's a big step, and I'm happy to have got it done. We did just keep kind of pushing it off, and we didn't really want to do Petrochem, and we just kind of kept pushing it like, we'll go do something else. A little bit of a tea break there. And we kept pushing it off until we ran out of other things to do besides rebuild things. And actually, I should also mention we are on the new version, 11.3, and instead of using conduits, we are now using laser connectors. I am aware of EU P2Ps, and I think we could probably do them. Let's see, multi P2P. Item multi P2Ps. Okay, never mind. We can't do these yet. Oh, these require it's Ivy. Oh, you could do this. Printed accumulation. Black steel. You need a vacuum freezer for that. Oh, chemical bath? Oh, you could do it a chemical bath. Black steel. So we could probably do this. We could probably do multi P2Ps if we really felt like it. But I don't really want to. I kind of want the something else to do. I would like a logistics problem that isn't solved by just applied energistics, and I'm okay with doing that with virtually everything else. But I would like to not run my power through applied energistics. Maybe that's just me. It just feels like, oh boy, I have a problem. I need to get something from point A to point B. How do I do it? Oh, applied energistics. Like, I wanna not have applied energistics do something. It'd be really great. It's less of like a challenge I want to impose and more of I just want to do something else. I don't really feel like I built a giant wiring tunnel and the only thing I'm gonna be running everywhere is cable. Like, come on, you know what I mean? So we probably won't use EU P2Ps even though Well, I'm sorry about that one. That one snuck up on me, guys. As you guys, like I said, I am a little bit sick. I have been for almost a month at this point. I am getting better though, day by day. I've noticed I'm getting significantly better. So I'm not too worried about it. If I don't get, better fast enough, then, obviously I will call the doctor. Anyway, well, again. um, yeah, so I do want a problem that isn't solved by applied energistics. So I think, and laser IO makes it really painless. So, um, we're not gonna solve that problem we're gonna use laser IO. I like laser IO. We also put some stuff on passive, some more things on passive. We have energetic and vibrant alloys on passive now, because you use them in the overclockers, and especially in the energy overclockers. You use the previous tier to craft the next tier, right? So you need all of the other previous ones passive. I don't think we have conductive iron passive though, so this will have to be something I passive eventually. But this doesn't go in an EBF, so um, this will have to go somewhere. And speaking of somewhere, let's see, we can have to go over here, factory floor 2. We have a little bit of ore processing with an asterisk on that. This is slower than steam grinders, but it's specifically for things that we want byproducts of, like for example, gallium. We have so much gallium already. I'm so happy. This actually didn't take too long to set up, and we have a little bit of some building changes here. Like, let me just do like the full walk-in. It's nice, right? So we're coming from factory floor 1 over here. We just continue down this way, and we go down some steps, and then some more steps, and then now we're down here. And then I really wanted like a. So the way the terrain worked was if I wanted to put like a pad there, I would have had to dig out like quite a lot. I think I would have had to dig out like to get it on level with this like 2 or 3 blocks. And I didn't really want to do that. And if I wanted to do like this, it would have been terraced. And I wanted to challenge myself a little bit. I think um, the sign of a good building doctrine, I think, is your ability to be flexible with it. That it give like doctrines give you guidance, and if you're lost, they give you a path forward. You're like, oh, I don't really know how to build this area, I guess, and you can always fall back on your building doctrine of your Lego pieces, right? To me, building doctrines are almost like Lego pieces. You can put them together, like you have a bunch of different styles of how you build things, how you build paths, how you build machine pads, how you build walls, how you build stairs. How often do you build lights into them exactly? Do you count them out? Are they like standard sizes? So you can play with Legos almost a little bit, but you don't always have to follow. Like this is still part of the doctrine. It's still the same size pad in width, but it's actually longer in length significantly. I think it's like it's 6 lights long instead of 4. The rest of them are 4. That's generally the standard. Petrochem did the same thing too a little bit. Some of them are shorter, like 3, I think. Um, but I really like this, and this did come with some problems. It was a little bit scuffed because this was so close to the other path. It was encroaching on where we put the black blazed terracotta, the glazed terracotta stuff to help hide. That's how we hide the exterior. Like if I go over to Petrochem, you can see we haven't done that over here, right? So you can see how there's these ridges from where we, have the glass and stuff inside, and we use the glazed terracotta to help hide that a little bit. And over here it was so close that the wall encroached on where that would have been. So it was a giant black cube instead of like if you're over here, it's just a single block. That generally gives like the wall some weight and some height elsewhere, but when you get close to it, it kind of disappears. Um, but over here, it was much, much larger, and obviously it doesn't disappear. So it was kind of bad when it looked a little bit monolithic, but we've already come up with a solution for that, and that's just doing this little diagonal thing with another color, and I think it looks really good. And this is going to staircase down with this. I haven't done this yet. I kind of hate doing the edging on staircases. It really bothers me, so I leave it alone and then hope I can get Cosmic to do it. She hasn't done it either. So I guess we're playing decorative chicken. But yeah, so this area will have more than just ore processing eventually. I think I don't really know if I want to build a dedicated spot for like endgame ore processing yet. Considering how far that is, we're away from that. Well, the steam grinders are very slow, and when I mean slow, I mean they are very slow. They are still faster than a single MV machine. This will do at 5 seconds. It'll take, so the steam grinders paralyze at 8. And that one will do, the steam grinders will do 8 recipes in 30 seconds, and this would take 40 seconds to do 8 recipes. So the steam grinders are still faster. Like I said, this was specifically for specialized ore processing, for things we want byproducts of, or, things that are rare, like tantalite, for example. Tantalite we need for SMD and transistors, the better recipe, and it's worth it because you get 32. It's just 1 gallium foil, 8 fine wire, and you get 32 SMD transistors. So it's definitely worth it. And it's only 1 ingot too, which is nice. But we don't have too much tantalum, so we want to process it as best we can. And you process that best you can, so it would be done through this, because we'd get the best yield that way, because we get chance byproducts and stuff like that, and like for example, tantalum dust does come as a chance byproduct down here, so that'll be useful, and also some manganese. Manganese is also useful. So yeah, there's that section. I think that's probably about all the sections. I think. Yeah, we went over petrochem. Oh, don't look at that. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. This was larger than I thought it was. I didn't realize it was 7 blocks long. And I didn't really feel like putting it anywhere else. So I just kind of crammed it in there and then just forgot about it. Oh nice, this has gone through lots of it. It's still taking forever. Oh my gosh. We have a lot of stuff. Sorry about that, guys. We have specifically a lot of tin ingots, and I mean a lot of tin ingots. Just we have so much. We have so much. Right? It's a little bit crazy. Also, actually, so we're on 11.3. This is going to be a little bit of a non sequitur. But 11.3 adds something to applied logistics that... Ooh, a little bit of a tea break. Hold on. Oh, man, I've been drinking this lemon and ginger tea while I've been sick, and I swear to God, I've had like 2 gallons of the stuff. It's great. I love it. But I do drink so much. That allows the computer to instantly reboot. Because before it would take, like an ATM9, it would take like almost a minute and a half to reboot after everything. You add a cable, you break a cable, you add an interface, you remove an interface, whatever you do, if you added something to the network, it took like a minute and a half to reboot. And even a Monifactory, it was taking like 10-15 seconds. Now, instant. Doesn't even go down. I don't even think it goes down. It's fantastic. I love it. It's legitimately the best change in 11.3. Like, they could have added nothing else except that, and I still would have updated just for that. It's fantastic. I love it. It's great. Yeah, so that was really nice. I love that change. It's been a real lifesaver because it was. We were talking about it, me and Cosmic, and if I was adding a bunch of stuff to the computer, she'd just go get lunch because it was legitimately unusable because it was horrible. And now it's less horrible, which is great. Oh, I don't know if you guys have seen. I don't think you guys have seen this yet. We added a bunch of more simulation models over here. There we go. That was weird. I do need to rebuild this using laser IO and rip out all these conduits and stuff, but I don't really wanna. It's really I just don't really feel like rebuilding a bunch of things, you know. Is that? Yeah, it's going up. Is it going up? Yeah. I don't know. It looks like Laser Ender IO has done some mean things over here. I don't know why. It by default extracts power from simulation chambers for some reason, and normally it hasn't been a problem, and now apparently it is. Whatever. I don't know. Power is still limping along. I think we're consistently using like 2.5 to 3 of these dynamos. So we still have some overhead left, which is fine. But we are going to eventually have to upgrade power. And I'm hoping we can get to combustion, a few combustion engines before that, so that we don't have to build any more Numies. Don't get me wrong, I love pneumatics, and it makes it really easy to really put a lot of power onto the network, you know? Just some simulation chambers and bam, Bob's your uncle, you got power. But it is a little bit boring. And I do want to mess, I haven't had a chance to mess with GregTech energy production yet, and I think that could be a fun little challenge, a thing to play with. And yeah, that could be cool. While I'm in my ramble, I want to come back over here and talk about this some more. So, like, when talking about building doctrines again, I think some of the most memorable places in your base will be when you kind of break them a little bit. Not really, like, totally break it, like, just throw them to the wind, but when you bend them a little bit more than you normally would. Like over here. Or when you do, like, unique areas as well. Like, I know now that this area will probably be, you know, obviously all the areas I build in the base will be unique because we're not doing chunk alignment, so, you know, they can be a little bit more free-flowing and organic looking. So instead of pasting down the same, you know, 3x3 flattened chunk, again and again and again, like I did in ATM 9, everywhere will be at least a little bit different. But this will be a pretty unique area because of, like, you know, it's terraced in it, you know, and all of the other you know, rooms are flat. They're all at the same Y level. None of them had any, like, you know, mid-room rises or elevation changes. And this one does, and it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a challenge to figure out how to fit it all in. But I think the challenge is what made it so fun. To really try and get that, because I was looking at this and I'm like, I don't really know if this is gonna work, but I really want it to, and that was more than enough to get it to work. Like, if you really want something to work, you can probably do almost anything. If you really want something to work, you can get it to work when it comes to building. If you really want to see something done, you just kind of have to do it, and sometimes you just have to, even if it was like, it was obviously not necessary. I could have just, you know, paved it over, and it would, if so, I could have just, you know, paved it over, flattened it, put the long thing, you know, moved it down so it was flat, and then I wouldn't have needed this extra path because it would have already had one next to it. Because the building doctrine we have, at least, you know, we've set up here, is that every machine pad should at least have a path that goes along all or most of it. So you always have a walkway, at least partially along any machine pad. So, like, over here, it has a path on one side, and that's good enough, right? They don't need to have paths on all sides. They just need to have a path on some side. So because this was raised, it needed its own path on the same Y level. So I had to add, so this, you know, brought that out farther, and which made it encroach on this area. But if I had left it at the same Y level, it would have fit without encroaching, and it obviously would have been a lot easier and simpler. But I really wanted it to work, and I thought it would look really cool, and I think it does. I think it looks really cool. Especially, I really enjoyed, I think using the white terracotta here is better too than using any of the other blocks, because it reminds you that this is the interior of a room. This isn't a wall, this isn't a machine wall, so we're not using basalt because this isn't an exterior wall. Hold on. Sorry guys, like I said, a little bit sick. I appreciate you guys sticking with me here. I know this video is going to be a little bit scuffed because of my illness, but I really wanted to get this out because I felt bad that another one got delayed, and I felt good enough that I really wanted to record one, and actually I kind of wanted to record one last night, but it was pretty late, and I thought I'll just leave it till tomorrow, and we can get some more stuff done. And it was worth it because I finished up our little specialized word processing here last night. This obviously right here isn't final. This is just turbo scuffed. I set it up so it wouldn't overfill last night, and then forgot to load the chunks. So I got on, and it was like, oh my god, why is it still? And then I was like, why does it still have 2,000? And I checked the chunks, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to load it, so it wasn't doing anything overnight, and I'm very sad. But it is what it is. So, so, figuring out unique little areas that you do just because you think it would be really cool, I think are some of the most important parts of building a base. Um, as well, like you need to do things that you find enjoyable because this isn't like a place where you go to work. This is a place where you go to have fun. So you have to make sure you're having fun building it, you're having fun being there. Um, you know, so it was definitely a little extra effort to get it to work, but I'm really, really glad that I put in that extra effort to get it to work. And if you guys have those weird, interesting ideas in your own bases that you aren't sure if they're gonna work or if it's gonna be a lot of work to get into it, I would suggest you try. You should at least give it a go. It might not be so bad at first. Like I thought it would be really complex and it would take me an hour, and it didn't really take me that long. Sometimes you find when you start building, it just kind of clicks naturally, and it wasn't too bad. Especially with the fact we have building gadgets here, and we're still building in straight lines, um, it really helps. And then it also, I think it would um, I do want to talk about the palette though a little bit. So, for example, like I was mentioning, using white terracotta here to remind you that this is still inside of a room, is because we use polished basalt on exterior walls. So if I had used basalt here, it would have clashed a little bit. It would have tried to make you think of this like, is this an exterior wall? Like, what is this? What's going on over here? And it probably would have looked okay too because we still would have had the sanded blackstone behind it at the same Y level that we normally would have the window of basalt. So it would have looked okay. But I think it would have looked a little bit out of place in that, like, why is there an exterior wall in the middle of a room? And when it's not really an exterior wall, it's an interior terrace. Um, so yeah, I think that I was really happy with this. Um, and I'm glad I took took the time to do something unique. And speaking of other unique things, I kind of want to talk to you guys about a possible future expansion down here. So we know we have this, we're building around a ravine, and down here is a lot of interesting terrain, especially over here. Myself and Cosmic have discussed instead of just like paving over this area, and forgetting about it, is we might want to try and turn this area into like an underground terraced cave area. And we are thinking of maybe putting LCRs down here. And we're gonna have to obviously push this wall back. We're gonna have to clean it up a lot. It's pretty messy down here. We're gonna have to pump out this oil here. We'll have to lower this block. We'll have to lower this floor. Level it obviously and bring it down a few blocks. We were thinking about to this Y level here, so it would be right about here above the water. Oh, there's even fish in there, so that'd be cool, right? Um, so we'd have to flatten it and stuff, and we'd have to get rid of all the stalagmites, the dripstone, because I kind of hate the way dripstone looks. And then we'd have to push this out, push this in a couple blocks, and we have to set up all the terraces and stuff, and it would be a lot of work, like a lot of work. Especially since we wouldn't be able to rely, it would be even more work because we wouldn't be able to rely necessarily on the building doctrine we have, which is one of the reasons why you have one. It helps you, it makes building easier. It gives you a starting point to work from. And we wouldn't really have that here. This would be something that would be an entirely unique area of the base. But there also comes positives with the unique area of the base. Like there's a lot of negatives. There's positives, there's pros and cons to everything, including a building doctrine. And a building doctrine does let you hold allows the base to conform together and flow together. So it looks like that you have one whole cohesive base, and that's a good thing. But the downside of that is the base does look very samey in terms of structure. The base can look very samey in terms of structure and palette. And while in terms of structure is alleviated by the fact that we aren't doing chunk-aligned bases anymore, at least not right now, and so things can just go how they need to fit. And because we're doing our best to try and mesh with respect the terrain a little bit more, rather than just paving everything over and forgetting that terrain even existed in the first place, it also allows our base to have a little bit more of an organic feel. I think it sort of meshes in with the landscape a little bit more rather than overpowering it. Obviously, it's not great. It's not perfect. This still does require lots of land clearing, and it still definitely does look like we took a chunk out of the mountain because we did. We flattened it. I still think it looks better than if we had just pancaked everything and moved on with our lives. Um, like ATM 9, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed my time in ATM 9. We all did. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have spent. We wouldn't have spent 600 hours in ATM 9. But there were a lot of faults with that base, or I guess I should say like trade-offs with that base. And I am hoping to push myself by not making those trade-offs. And but my whole point was, sorry, I kind of got a little off track. Building doctrines are good. They help you do a lot of important things as well as make building easier, consistent, and when the building it easier and consistent. Um, an overall more connected base. But that means the base can look kind of samey. And you might want some more unique areas to spice up your base. And that's when I think you should look to the terrain around you. Do you have any interesting areas you can build on? Any interesting terrains any interesting terrain you can mess with? Because while you can, this is Minecraft. You can build anything you want. But with that freedom, comes a lot of actually, if anything, makes it quite complex. If you can build anything, where do you start? Like how do you if you can choose from an infinite number of structures, like how do you narrow it down to like 3 that you kind of want to build? And if you look to the terrain, I think terrain can help inspire you on the kind of things you want to build. So like down here, I saw a natural little cave area that was kind of terraced and went up. And I went, you know, caves are cool. I haven't really built an underground base in forever. I used to build them all the time. Whenever I play vanilla, which is extremely rare these days. Tea break. That's good. Um, I used to build underground bases a lot. I really enjoyed underground bases and partially underground bases and stuff. And it's been a while since I've dug down. Like when I used to play modern Minecraft a lot on my own before I started building these sort of sprawling bases like you guys have seen on the channel now. Whenever I used to build a house and then dig down and build an underground machine hall, which was a mess by the way. It was terrible. Don't ever do that. I mean, I guess you can. I'm, not your Minecraft king. Do whatever you want. But I haven't really built underground in a while, and it would be nice to, build a little bit underground. And this is a lot of space over here. We can carve out this whole area, and because especially, I remember we had an absolute monstrous amount of LCRs too. And look, we can even expand over here, maybe put some more things over here. Like, maybe we can even put the LCRs in here instead, like clean this area up, maybe. We can look to terrain for inspiration. It can be I mean, obviously, if you're building in a void world, obviously you don't have any terrain to be inspired by. So that's something else. That's another problem. But if you're building in the overworld, I think if you're lost and you want to build something unique, you can always look to the terrain, and that can really inspire where you put certain things. Like I still build like we have a little underground area over there, that little like a junction, I guess turn. Well, I want to kind of expand that and come down underneath, and we still want to build watchtowers. I still, to help get a view down on things, because sometimes I do accidentally hit the wrong one. And I'm kind of thinking of putting a watchtower somewhere around over here. This would help. This would cover a lot of this area. But I'm not exactly sure where the next watchtower would go in terms of it would have to be we want another watchtower that would be in range. So those are other questions that we have to answer. For example, maybe we could put like another watchtower over here, and then maybe well, we wouldn't be in range because we're not in range of the EBF area over there. Maybe right there would be in range. We can go take a look at some point. But I have definitely rambled for quite some time, and I can definitely feel, my sickness coming back a little bit. I've been talking for too long. So I appreciate you guys for sticking with the scuffed nature of this video with all the pauses and stuff and half muffled coughs on camera. That was my bad. Well, they snuck up on me. I've been having a good time. Despite being sick, which for being sick this long just really, really sucks. I get your flu shots, kids. I still didn't. I said get your flu shots and then didn't do that. and I paid the price. So, do that, I guess. Um, yeah. We have lots of cool projects, and we have lots of cool projects and plans. We want to do, we want to still build our command tower over here, like the big final one. So we're gonna have like a big sprawling base. It's gonna be all around this, built around the center island and stuff, which will be like a giant tower, and it'll be a lot like. I really enjoy modern Minecraft's terrain generation. There's something to be said for like all older versions of Minecraft and their nostalgia and things, but sorry, guys. Let me have a little bit of a tea break. Like, don't get me wrong. There's something to be said for older versions of Minecraft and how modern Minecraft has been getting. I don't know. It's a very different game than it was, for even like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, like even like 8 years ago too. It was an entirely different game. But I think one of my favorite changes has definitely been the terrain generation. We get a lot more interesting terrain, even without mods. Obviously, I don't think there's any terrain generation mods in this pack. I might be wrong. Besides like new biomes, maybe. Um, well, our new biomes. Um, but you know, we get a lot more interesting terrain with a lot more options. Really inspires new kinds of builds and really interesting bases. Obviously, the bridges aren't done yet. Those single block pillars are not going to stay. They look terrible. They're just kind of placeholders where we want to put a support, but we haven't done it yet. That's the nice thing I think about Greg Tech is there's always something to do. Um, which what I've really enjoyed is there's always something you can do, whether it's building your base, working towards a milestone, a new circuit, a new alloy, another EBF, whatever. There's always something you can find. You can always find something to do, and that's really enjoyable. I think it's an endless task. And in some ways that can be kind of horrifying, like you'll never be done, and in some ways that can be liberating, and you'll never be done. There's always something to do, um, and yeah, this sort of philosophy kind of touches on 17776, an American football story, which I read in college like 4 times, and it's great. You guys should read it. Anyway, I've definitely rambled for too long. So that's my bad. Again, sorry for the scuffed nature of the video. It is what it is. Being sick sucks. Never get sick, kids. Um, just don't do it. Alright guys. Well, I hope you guys have had a good week. Mine's been, extremely mixed. Uh, but it's getting better. And I hope you guys have a good week. And I'll see you all again next week.